So today we would start with the 28th verse where Krishna talks about, Krishna says, Avyakta dini bhutani vyakta madhyani bharatah avyakta nidhane nyev evah tatra ka paridevana. So Krishna is saying all created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and again unmanifest when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? So it's a very logical statement that which is not there, or which we think it's for some time it is there. It's just like a bubble, I know, water bubble, which is there. The existence is there, but for a very minimum time. So which is there and which is not there, if you think like that. So why do we lament? So that's why Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad says, if we take the support of two verses, which we have already read in the past, one verse is which says, Na jayate mriyate va kadachinnayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuya ajo nityah shashvato ayam sano rachaloyam. In this verse, where it says, where Krishna is saying that the soul cannot be killed at any cost, nor it can be dried or wet, or nothing can be done. You cannot tweak the soul at any cost. And in the other verse, where Krishna is saying, Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvam janmrityasya cha tasmat pariharyarthe natvam shochito marshi. Where Krishna is telling that whoever has come, he will depart. There is no question on that. So as Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad says, by taking the support of these two shlokas, we understand that neither the soul is perishable, and neither it is that the body is imperishable. Both the things are true in their own places. So that's the reason, as Prabhupada says, that whether we believe or we don't believe, it doesn't make any difference, right? If people believing on souls believe that, okay, soul is there, in that matter also there is no point of lamentation, because soul is imperishable and the body is perishable. And if we think that soul does not exist, in that case also there's no point of lamentation. As for example, you might be knowing this, that out of all the planets that we have, there is a planet known as Pluto, which is the farthermost from Sun. So now, as per NASA, Pluto is no more considered as a planet. It is considered as a dwarf planet. Okay, so they have removed Pluto from the chain, or from the list of planets. Now let's see, does this, whatever was the decision from NASA, does it any way depend, or any way have any influence on Pluto? The day when Pluto was in the list of planets, the time it used to take to do a circumference of the entire the sun, the same time Pluto today also takes. So Pluto doesn't have any effect by the decision of NASA. Likewise, the soul also doesn't have any effect by our decision, or by our thought, that what happens, whether we believe on soul or we don't believe, doesn't make any difference, because body is always mortal, as we say, antavant ime deha, and the soul is always immortal, nitya sayukta sharirinaha, that at any cost soul is imperishable. The constitutional position of soul, whatever it is, we cannot tweak at any cost. And that's why we should understand that this body is nothing but it's just like a dress. That's, again, there's no reason why we should lament when this body goes. Because for instance, when we wear a new dress, do we ever get depressed? Do we ever lament? Do we grieve? No, in fact, we become happy. So likewise, when the body departs, when the body perishes, and the soul goes ahead for its next journey, we should not lament. But in our society, we see that a lot of people lament. So one of our devotees, I was hearing a lecture. So he said, then why do we lament? We do not lament because the person went away, the person left his body. We lament thinking that the facilities that we were getting from that person, we will not be getting anymore. The benefits that we were getting, those benefits we will not be getting anymore. That's the reason why we are lamenting. There's no other reason. So that's why, in the crux, we should understand that the soul is always there. It's never going to perish. It's just, it keeps on changing from one form to another. It's just like the law of conservation of energy. It transforms from one frame to another frame, but it never perishes. So that is what Krishna is. Krishna is. Krishna wants to tell in this verse. Okay, so let's go ahead. In this verse, Krishna is saying, Ascharyavat pashyati kaschid enam ascharyavat vadati tathaiva cha anyam ascharyavat chainyam anya shrinoti kritvapi enam vedana chaiva kaschid. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. So it's very logic. If we think on this with our logical brain, it looks very logical that how can the soul, which is the same soul which is present in an ant, the same type of soul is present in an elephant also, and doing the same work. How is it possible that the same tiny, for example, if let's consider, 1 gram of soul is present in an ant, and it is making it active. The same 1 gram of soul is present in an elephant of 1,000 kilos, and the ant is of mere or some few grams, right? I think it should be of milligrams. But even after the presence of that 1 gram soul in elephant, it makes it active. So it's very, it shows as if it very discrepancy. A lot of discrepancy is there that how the soul is functioning. That's why Krishna is saying that some people say that it's amazing that how can the soul perform in such a way, the same function in an ant and the same function in such a big elephant. That's why it's very difficult for the people in this Kali Yuga to understand how a soul, the definition of soul, how a soul performs. As in Bhagavatam, it says, Prayan alpayushah sabhya kalavasmin yuge jana manda sumandamatyo mand bhagya hra abdruta. People of this age who doesn't have any clue about what a soul is, what it does, how it does, they will never be able to think that the same soul which is in an ant performs the same way, and which is in an elephant's body performs the same work. Because if we see, the size of the soul is just like our thumb. It's just like on in an approx 1 inch, and in that 1 inch of soul is doing the same activities, making the entire body, irrespective of whether it's an ant or an elephant, active. That's why Prabhupada says that in this lifetime, we should inquire about soul. And once we try to inquire the soul, the super soul also we would be able to get to know. We will get that capability to understand the super soul as well. That's why, as in Bhagavatam, it says, Kamasya na indrapriti labho jivet yavata jivasya tattva jigyasa nartho yashachih karmabhi. That a person in this lifetime should not waste his life just in sense gratification. Instead, he should inquire jivasya tattva jigyasa, that what is the tattva of this lifetime, of this life, what is the essence of this life, he should inquire about. Otherwise, our life or an animal's life doesn't have any difference. That's why Prabhupada very nicely say that to understand this, we should have association. And until we have any association, we will never be able to know all these things. Because as Prabhupada says, that first, we don't have such people who themselves know that the difference between the concept of Atma and the difference between Atma and Paramatma. Because if we don't know about Atma and Paramatma, we always keep on saying, Shivoham, I am Shiva, I am Shiva, right? If you ask such people that if you are Shiva, can you, I am frustrated of this entire world, of my family, of my society, can you just wipe out of the entire society? Then he would be very quiet, because he is not capable enough of wiping away the dust of his house in one go. What he would wipe off the entire universe. So that's what Prabhupada is saying, that such people in our society don't exist. It's very rare to get such intelligent and such people, such devotees who understand what is Atma and what is Paramatma. To find such people is very difficult, and then we have to associate with such people. Only then we will be able to know the functions of of this soul, and after some time we will be able to understand super soul as well. So in this way, if we see, the functions of Atma is always, enchanting, always amazing, that how such a small Atma is performing so many things, that irrespective of the body, it makes the body active and do all sort of things, and being just of 1 inch of size. So that's why Atma is always amazing in its own place. So, and the next verse is, here Krishna is saying, Dehi nityam avadhyo ye ayam dehe sarvasya bharatah tasmat sarvani bhutani na tum shochitum aharshi. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. So see, in this verse, Krishna is just repeating whatever he has told till now. For example, Krishna, as in this verse, Krishna is telling that Dehi Nityam Avadhyo Ayam. That Dehi, that the soul is Nityaha. It cannot be slain, it cannot be killed. So Krishna has already told that Nainam Chidanti Shastrani, Nainam Dahati Pavaka, Na Chainam Kledenta Yapo, Na Shoshati Marutaha. That soul, neither can it be cut, neither it might be dried, nor it can be wet, nor it can be, done anything. We cannot touch the soul. But again, Krishna is repeating. What does it mean? It means that this is the crux of the entire spiritual world. And that's the reason why this chapter 2 has been introduced in the very beginning of Bhagavad-gītā. And a summary of Bhagavad-gītā summarized. That until and unless we understand this science, that we are not the body, we are the soul, how many verses we remember, how many shlokas we memorize, whatever you do, it will be useless. We might get some sukriti, we might get a big bungalow, crores of rupees, all those things. But at the end of the day, the purpose for which we entered in this spiritual world, that is lost. The purpose is get rid of this birth and death cycle. As Vrinda Mataji tells, BDOD, birth, death, disease, and old age. That BDOD life cycle chain. So that's the essence, and that is the crux of why we want to go ahead in the spiritual world, because we want to get rid of this birth and death cycle. So that's why Krishna is concluding with this 30th verse, that soul cannot be killed at any cost. Whether you try or you don't try, it cannot be done anything. That's why, as Prabhupada says, that the success of this life is to about inquire the soul, and going forward know about Krishna. And if you know about Krishna, it's your life is successful. As Bhaktivedanta Thakur, there's a very good Vaishnav song where he says, Janama safalatar Krishna darshan jar Bhagya hoy che kabar Bhagya hoy che kabar. So Bhaktivedanta Thakur tells that Janama safalatar, that person's life is successful, Krishna darshana jar, who gets the darshan of Krishna. And this you get by a big fortune in life. This is very rare. That's why Krishna has already told in Bhagavad-gītā that Bahunam Janmanamante Gyanvan Mam Prapaddate Vasudevam Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. It's very difficult, it's rare that a person who can come to my God, back to my Godhead, back to my Dham. It's very rare. That's why Prabhupada very nicely concludes that all of these things we can only get by the association of pure devotees. That's why in material life, A might stand for apple, but in spiritual world, A stands for association. That's why Bhagavatam says, Tulyam lave napi na swargam na puna bharvam bhakti sangasya matyanam kim utashishaha. That if, like us, as we are dying every day, even if we get the swarg, that is also of low value, and a person who is getting swarga and parallelly association of pure devotees, that person should leave swarga and he should come, he leave heaven and whatever it is, the bigger big planets, he should leave all those things just for the association of pure devotees. That's how important is association. That's why without association of devotees, we will not be able to move an inch. That's why Prabhupada always says that have association, if not 24 hours, whether it's virtually or personally, at least 1 hour a day, at least some time of your life every day we should talk, we should meet, as I said, whether it's virtually or personally, we should meet with devotees so that we get that vibrations from those devotees, and it keeps us motivated in life, because we keep on getting demotivated every now and then. So that's the reason why it is so important to have association. So with this, Prabhupada concludes all these three verses, and Krishna ends the spiritual context of Atma. That if you see, Krishna has been describing this from almost from verse number 16 or 17, that whatever is the constitutional position of Atma. So here, with 30th verse, Krishna concludes the spiritual knowledge of Atma, and we'll see a different series of knowledge from going forth from next day, from tomorrow. Okay, with this, we end today's session. If any Mataji or Prabhuji has any